Warning: 50 States, 50 Murders is a podcast based around true crime. Please be advised of the horrific details of murder, abuse, and sexual assault, occasional adult language, as well as brief humor. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
A fast food worker who strangled his friends without warning.
A pirate whose reign of terror carved blood into the Carolina coastline.
A killer who didn't just murder, he dismantled his victims.
A staircase that tore apart a family, as well as a city.
This week, we're heading to North Carolina, where lies and bloodstains all leave their mark, and legends never die. Welcome back to 50 States, 50 Murders. I'm AJ.
I'm Sarah, and this is the podcast taking you, the listener, on an auditory road trip across all 50 states.
While we discuss 50 different murders.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 33.
This week we're heading into North Carolina, where the past, well, it never really stays buried.
From the Outer Banks to the city streets, every corner here has its secrets, and some are still bleeding through the cracks.
Pirates, predators, betrayal, and bloodshed. North Carolina proves that whether it's 1718 or 2024, darkness doesn't care about the date on the calendar.
So buckle up, because this ride's about to get bumpy.
Here at 50 States, 50 Murders, we strive to keep the subject of murder as our forefront, while keeping it as entertaining and mysterious as possible for you, the listener. We also try to hone in on the subject of traveling, thus the fictitious road trip across all 50 states each and every week. We both love to travel, which is great for our show, but understandably, it can also sometimes throw a wrench into our show when it comes to planning to record weekly. My host Sarah is back from what sounds like both an exciting but maybe just a tad bit exhausting 2-week road trip. So before we head out to North Carolina for this week's episode, I want to take a second to catch up with Sarah and to hear about some of your recent adventures. Welcome back, first and foremost.
Thank you. Happy to be back. I can definitely see how you might call me a guest at this point. I really appreciate you taking the last 2 mini episodes. Hopefully everybody got a chance to view those. Super excited that you were able to hold down the fort while I was gone.
Did my best, I'm sure the listeners are happy to have the back and forth.
Yeah. Absolutely. So every May, probably about a week before Memorial Day, we, at work, we have a convention in Las Vegas. It's one of the biggest ones of the year for our industry. And it is a Sunday through Tuesday convention. I always leave on Saturday, get there in plenty of time, kind of to relax, kind of regroup. The time change is honestly insane to me. I know it's only 3 hours, but it really wears on you.
The time change to Vegas is crazy.
It really is.
You get a whole day going there, which feels
and
great.
You lose a whole day coming back.
But the coming back is the worst. I hated it. Going down was awesome. So it's like, I just feel like it negates the entire flight time.
Mm-hmm. And everybody always says, oh, you're so lucky you get to travel to Vegas and you get to do all these fun trips. But don't be fooled. Our conventions are extremely filled with business related purposes. Mondays being like the craziest day. We have meetings usually from 8:30, 9 a.m. until about 5 p.m. Then we usually follow it up with like a happy hour with a different landlord. And then we also go to a dinner, usually around like 7:30. And on Monday nights is party night, where they want us to attend a party that starts at 10 p.m., which is 1 a.m. our time, or body time, like I like to call it. Like, this is 1 a.m., but, you got to go there and kind of get the experience of networking with people that you talk to all the time on emails and phone calls. It's super nice, and I think it's super important. But my dad's side of the family, my grandma on my dad's side of the family, shout out to Grandma Linda, because I know you're listening.
Shout out to grandmas out there. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. We had her family reunion the day after I came back.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the dynamic of the travel here? Because the travel lean is the worst part of travel.
Yeah, so I traveled from Saturday, and I got home Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Okay, so we're in Vegas.
On Saturday the 17th.
We get to the airport to go home. This is Wednesday?
And now we're Wednesday, yep. Okay. And we come home from Cleveland, so I don't get home until about 7:30, 8 p.m.
Okay.
And the next day, Emmy had school until 2 p.m. And then right after she left, or sorry, not 2 p.m., 3 p.m., and then right after she got out of school, it was our plan to drive directly to West Virginia.
Nice.
So the next morning I had to work.
Perfect.
Catch up a little bit and also get ready for yet another road trip. So then we drove 4 hours that Thursday at like 4 p.m. probably. I don't think we got in the car till about 4:30. And drive 4 hours to Logan, West Virginia. So Chief Logan State Park is where we held our family reunion this year and the past few years. And we stayed at the lodge. So it was super nice. And with it being a holiday weekend, we actually didn't check out until Monday.
Whew.
So it was like 10 straight days of me not really sleeping in my bed. I did get that little bit of a break Wednesday night, but I got home, showed Emmy everything I got her, kind of showed her pictures. So it's funny, she's obsessed with Pikachu right now. And I took her little stuffed animal Pikachu and took pictures with him everywhere, like at the airport, by the hotel pool, at one of my meetings, in the convention center. So it was a lot, but happy to be back in my bed this weekend. We did not plan anything purposely, just so we could relax, because we also are going on a camping trip this weekend for 4 nights from Friday to Tuesday. And then I have another work trip coming up Wednesday to Friday. So it'll be another Friday to Friday of nonstop traveling.
The grind doesn't stop.
Nope, it definitely doesn't. But
I'm
back, and I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, we're happy to have you back. So Vegas, everyone that listens knows that you are a degenerate slots player.
Yes,
did we have any time to gamble while in Vegas?
Of course. You have to walk through like 2 casinos,
right?
2 different levels of casinos, before you even get to your hotel room. So I did have a little bit of time to gamble.
How'd we do?
We don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
It was kind of up, down, 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 up, down. So yeah, not terrible, but not the outcome that I would have. I would like to come home with a little bit more money, but
sure,
I didn't come home completely broke. So I
you
guess
didn't lose the house. That's cool.
Didn't lose the house. So yeah, that's good. They actually had blackjack pools there.
Ooh.
We stayed at Caesars, and they have a 21 and over pool that has blackjack dealers inside the pool.
Oh man.
And being there in May,
that's sweet.
It's usually, last year was like 100 degrees.
Right.
This year was like 80s or like high 70s, I think, when we got there. So it wasn't like terribly hot like it was last year. And all the pools were not heated. They were freezing cold. I'm like, why is nobody in the pool? It's like such a nice day, the sun shining. Yeah. And it's because it was freezing cold. But we found the blackjack pool, and that ended up being the only heated pool at Caesars.
Oh, perfect.
but it was like warm like a hot tub.
Nice.
And the dealer told me that's because they want everybody comfortable and happy and like warm and fuzzy when they're gambling.
So Vegas was great, and the family reunion?
Great. It's always so good
times?
to see. Yeah.
Awesome. We're happy to have you back. Sounds like upcoming travel is going to be a little crazy, so we are going to continue to do what we can on our side to make sure we're putting out some weekly episodes for you guys.
Yeah.
So before we get into pirates, murderers, and mysterious staircases, let's go ahead and get to know the state we're covering this week a little bit better, which is North Carolina.
Because behind the beaches and barbecue, there's a lot more going on in the Tar Heel state that meets the eye.
So first off, let's go ahead and discuss murder per capita. It's a murder podcast, so I think it's only right that we get back to the murder per capitas. And as of 2025, the year that we're in, North Carolina ranks 11th amongst all U.S. states for murder per capita, with a rate of 7.89 homicides per 100,000 residents.
So for context, the national average murder rate in recent years is around 7.7 per 100,000 people. However, in 2023, North Carolina reported 855 homicides, contributing to its elevated per capita rate.
We'll get back to the topic of murder here shortly, but let's go ahead and hit on a few non-murder related facts about North Carolina. First up, we have the Wright brothers, who made history here. And real quick, I want to give our home state here of Ohio a little pat on the back for this one. The Wright brothers are from Ohio, but they did venture their way down to North Carolina. And in 1903, that's when Orville and Wilbur Wright completed the world's first successful power flight in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, which launched humanity into the age of aviation. First in flight, but not the last to crash and burn here.
Next up, North Carolina is home to one of the most haunted beaches in America. No other than the Outer Banks. It's not just beautiful, it's legendary for shipwrecks, ghost ships, and pirate hauntings. Locals even claim that Blackbeard's spirit still lingers around the Oracoke Island.
Quick little mini story here for everybody. I've mentioned in the past that Outer Banks is my family's go-to for a yearly vacation. And the last time I was in Outer Banks with the family, we actually did a haunted ghost tour.
Nice.
And usually you know what you're getting when you sign up for these. I mean, they're cheeky and corny, but I will say that the beginning part, if you're into history like myself, very cool. There was a lot of, I thought, entertaining information. If you don't find history exciting, then you probably would have hated this. But yeah, they touched on Outer Banks. It gave the full story of how the pirates would go up and down the coast. And, you know, it said that a lot of the ghosts of all these pirate hauntings still, you know, you can see it, you can experience it, whether you believe in that or not. Nonetheless, the history lesson in the haunted ghost tour that we had, I thought was really cool. So I appreciated that. Lastly, for North Carolina, the state's nickname, Tar Heel, has mysterious origins. Some say it comes from colonial workers who produced tar and pitch for ships. Others say Confederate soldiers earned it, fighting so fiercely their enemies joked that they'd stuck to the battlefield like they had tar on their heels.
And Tar Heels is actually the name of their sports teams, right?
Yeah, so the University of North Carolina, it's the Tar Heels.
Okay.
Yep.
Makes sense. So once you've had your fill of ghost stories and pirate legends,
you might want to brush up on local laws as well, because in North Carolina's legal system, they have a few surprises baked in.
here are 3 weird, wild, and completely real laws still floating around the Tar Heel state.
So, first weird law, we'll go ahead and call it. I want to say I I probably wouldn't last long in North Carolina. I'd probably be arrested day one.
We cannot listen to music
Yeah,
in
and
North Carolina.
that's because it's illegal to sing off-key in public. Technically, if you're belting out your favorite song badly enough, you could be in trouble. So, American Idol auditions, beware.
All of us should beware because
You and I should definitely beware. And if my wife is listening, she should beware.
I was going to say, I know a couple instances of karaoke that we might have been banned from North Carolina or arrested. So for weird law number 2, you cannot use elephants to plow cotton fields. This is no joke. In North Carolina, it is illegal to use elephants to pull plows through farmland. Seems oddly specific, so honestly, I really would wonder what happened here.
Yeah, I looked into this one because it was just so interesting. Again, call back to our previous episodes. You can't fish on a giraffe, or you can't go whaling in Oklahoma. So, yeah, in North Carolina, I don't know how many elephants are running around,
Right.
but you can't use them to plow cotton fields. And the best I could find, as far as information goes, is after the slavery was abolished, a thing that was like really popular back then. I wouldn't say it's as popular now, but carnivals, traveling carnivals, Barnum and Bailey, they wanted to kind of get out ahead of traveling carnivals selling their animals to people to assist in farming, not only for the purpose of saving the animals, but elephants could damage the farm land itself.
Yeah.
So I would have to imagine somebody tried this.
Yeah. Well,
Thus, the law in place. But I couldn't really find any like hardcore
Concrete
locked-in
evidence.
examples of it, but I think they were just trying to get out ahead of it. So, yeah,
yikes.
if you see an elephant plowing a cotton field in North Carolina, make sure you notify the authorities.
911.
Weird law number 3, we have the fact that bingo games are strictly regulated. Now, where I'm from, here at my home, bingo was a big thing in our community. We had the Ellet Bingo Hall, and I helped coach the youth basketball league that we had here when I was younger. And one of the things, I don't even know why, it was like a punishment. You're doing like a service,
Everybody had to
but
sign
you
up.
had to work
Yep.
1 week for the bingo hall. And that's literally why I stopped coaching, because I hated it so much that I was like, I'd rather not do it. So for me, I've never played bingo there, but I had to work it once, and it was miserable. I mean, have you ever had a bingo
I actually
experience?
played there.
I am not surprised.
I cannot sounds so terrible. And I can't remember who I honestly went with, which is even more terrible. But we went just for fun. And it's no joke.
No, it's serious.
It is so serious. And people have like multiple cards.
And
They have
also
everything
have
set
like
up, and they have their little trinkets
custom
set up.
markers.
They have custom
trinkets.
markers. Yeah. I mean, the lady we sat next to, and this was the same with multiple other people there, had like good luck charms all over. And I'm talking about like little picture frames or
rabbit's foot,
just weird things. I mean, crystals, like all kinds of stuff sitting by their space.
Yep.
And they go so quick. I'm
It's
like,
very
how
fast.
is great grandma keeping up with me? I can't even pay attention to my 2 boards, and she has like 6 over there. Just stamp, 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 stamp. It was wild, honestly. Definitely crazy to see.
As far as like our community goes, bingo is a big thing. In North Carolina, bingo games strictly regulated. So it's illegal for bingo games to last more than 5 hours. And you can only run 2 bingo events per week. Even grandma's bingo habits need government oversight.
All right. So after surviving, if you do, the off-key singers and elephant-free farming,
You might just want to see the best and weirdest North Carolina has to offer.
here's what to check out if you're brave enough to make the trip.
First and foremost, I have to personally say visit the Outer Banks as well as the Ocracoke Island. It is a staple for my family. I've been there too many times to count at this point, and it never gets old. For me personally, I love it. Maybe it's not for everybody. Some people, I think, like the hustle and bustle, and they maybe you're single and you want to do more of a outgoing type of trip. But for me, Outer Banks is very low key. It's chill. It's relaxing. And for me personally, I love that. It's home to stunning beaches, mysterious shipwrecks, as well as the final battleground of Blackbeard the Pirate. You can visit Teach's Hole on Ocracoke, the site where Blackbeard was killed, and some say his ghost still roams.
Yeah, I feel like the Outer Banks is kind of like Hilton Head in a way.
Yep.
You know, that's usually our family trip. But next up, we have Explore the Biltmore Estate. It's located in Asheville, North Carolina. The Biltmore is America's largest privately owned home. It's basically a French chateau dropped in the Appalachian Mountains. And yes, it's reportedly haunted. Secret doors, hidden rooms, pretty eerie vibes. Everything's all here.
Lots of hauntings going on in North Carolina. Lastly, you can walk through historic Bath, North Carolina. It's the oldest town in the state. And once again, another Blackbeard haunt. Pirates once anchored their ships here, and the whole town has an old world eerie atmosphere. Perfect for ghost tours, or just listening for some footsteps that maybe aren't yours.
Of course, for every beautiful beach and historic mansion, North Carolina's also got some serious skeletons in its closet.
From serial killers to pirates to cold-blooded dismemberment, this state's dark side runs deep.
Let's meet 3 of North Carolina's most infamous murders.
If you're a listener of the show, you know I'm a big fan of interesting, intriguing serial killer nicknames. And this one is definitely going to rank up there for a weird one. We have Henry Louis Wallace, who was also went by the Taco Bell Strangler. So between 1990 and 1994, Wallace terrorized Charlotte, North Carolina, strangling at least 11 women.
In the chilling part, he wasn't some random monster. He actually targeted women he knew personally. His co-workers, friends, neighbors. Trust turned into death, all with no one suspecting him until it was too late.
He's currently sitting on death row at Central Prison in Raleigh, still awaiting his final sentence.
So next we're heading back a few centuries to the legendary pirate Blackbeard.
Edward Teach ruled the waters off the Outer Banks in the early 1700s. He terrorized the coast, captured ships, took prisoners, and he wasn't afraid to spill blood to protect his empire.
His reign ended in 1718 when he was ambushed and killed at Ocracoke Inlet. They say his body floated around his ship 3 times after he was beheaded.
He was a true pirate legend, and one that still haunts the Carolina coast today.
And last but not least, we have Robert Sylvester Alston, nicknamed the Greensboro Dismemberer.
Between 1991 and 1993, Alston lured women, often involved in prostitution, and then murdered them. But he didn't just stop there. He dismembered their bodies and scattered their remains all across Greensboro.
He was arrested in 1994 after DNA evidence linked him to the crimes. Today, he's serving life without parole, which is where he belongs.
So we have 3 killers, 3 different styles of destruction, but none of them really left a mystery quite like today's case.
1 woman dead at the bottom of a staircase, 1 husband swearing it was just an accident, and 1 courtroom that couldn't decide who to believe.
It's a story of secrets, lies, money, and death. And whether you call it a tragedy or a cold-blooded crime, I guess that depends on who you ask.
This is the case of Michael Peterson and the staircase.
We're going to go ahead and jump back to December 9th, 2001, and we'll set the scene in the city of Durham, North Carolina. A stately mansion tucked away in a quiet, upscale neighborhood. The kind of house where nothing bad ever really seems to happen.
Inside that house lived Michael Peterson, a novelist, a local celebrity of sorts. He had money, prestige, and political ambition. And alongside him, Kathleen Peterson, which was his wife, a top executive at Nortel Networks, known for her sharp mind and warm heart.
Now, from the outside looking in, the Petersons had it all. A blended family, successful careers, a sprawling southern home lined with bookshelves and old-world charm, dinner parties, family vacations, fundraisers.
But like we've seen before, behind the walls of that beautiful home, there were cracks, financial pressures, career frustrations, secrets tucked carefully out of sight.
Still, nobody on the outside saw any of the warning signs. And who really ever does? No screaming fights, no violent outbursts, just another affluent family living the American dream.
Until one cold night, everything shattered.
A frantic 911 call. A woman's lifeless body crumpled at the bottom of a blood-smeared staircase. And a husband insisting, pleading, that it was just a tragic accident.
But the deeper we dig into the Peterson home, the less things start to add up.
So it's a little after midnight, same day, December 9th, 2001. The Peterson mansion is quiet. Kathleen and Michael had spent the evening together, watching a movie, drinking wine, and laughing by the pool under the crisp North Carolina stars.
At least, that's what Michael said.
Sometime after midnight, Michael places a frantic 911 call.
911, where's your emergency? Peter Street, please. What's wrong? My wife had an accident. She's still breathing. What kind of accident? She's still on the stairs. She's still breathing. Please come. Is she conscious? What? Is she conscious? No, she's not conscious. Okay. How many stairs did you fall down? What? How many stairs? Stairs. How many stairs? Calm down, sir. Calm down. No, 15, 20, I don't know. Please, get somebody here right away. Please. Okay, somebody's dispatching the ambulance while I ask you questions. It's a Forest Hills, okay? Please. Sir, somebody else is dispatching the ambulance. Okay, is she awake now? Hello?
When paramedics arrive at the scene, they find Kathleen at the bottom of a narrow wooden staircase, her body twisted unnaturally, blood everywhere, and not just a pool of blood beneath her head, but literally splattered all along the walls, the stairs, and the floorboards.
From what you described, I mean, it sounds like that would be a scene out of a horror movie. Now, I'm a pretty clumsy person. I've had a spill or two down the old stairs. Nothing too crazy. And I've seen people fall down some steps on occasion. Again, nothing crazy. Yeah, you're talking about unnatural positioning, blood spattering. I feel like that goes a little bit above and beyond just your average spill down the stairs. I mean, I think almost immediately something just didn't sit right with first responders.
And Michael was acting very strangely. Not the uncontrollable breakdown that you might expect from a husband. And don't get me wrong, he was upset, but also eerily composed, very focused, almost too aware of the questions swirling around him.
Yeah, maybe like almost prepped for what questions he thought would be coming his way.
Rehearsed.
He claimed he was outside by the pool when Kathleen must have fallen. He didn't hear anything. He didn't see anything. Not until he came back inside and just found her laying there.
But investigators start asking themselves, if Kathleen simply fell down the stairs, how do you explain the volume of blood? And how do you explain the pattern of it and the position of her body?
Blood everywhere. I mean, that had to have been a violent spill, and you didn't hear it. I mean, I get it. You're outside. Doors are closed, maybe. But for that level of just this violent accident, I have to imagine you would hear some sort of scream, some sort of collision that would lead to blood smearing everywhere. So, yeah, I think it's normal to kind of have some questions right off the rip. Experienced paramedics and police had seen dozens of falls before. Sure, broken necks, broken arms, but this one, it just looked different. More like a blunt force trauma or more like a beating than a fall.
And then there's the wine. There were 2 empty glasses on the kitchen counter. But Kathleen's blood alcohol level didn't suggest that she was overly drunk. She actually, I think, was at a 0.1.
So, I mean, nothing crazy at all.
Nothing super crazy. I mean, she did also have between 5 and 10 milligrams of volume.
Okay.
But if she was sober enough to climb the stairs, how did she fall and why?
Right.
And why was it this bad? Why was the blood spatter all over the walls?
So naturally, with mysteries like this, theories swirl. You have the narrow staircase. Maybe she had some slippery shoes. Or could it have just been a tragic misstep?
Or something darker.
From the moment investigators laid eyes on Kathleen's body, they couldn't shake that feeling that something's just not right here.
Because falls happen and accidents happen, but the sheer amount of blood at the scene, everything just didn't line up.
So we have the blood spatter that was up the walls, across multiple steps, and even sprayed onto door frames. It suggested multiple blows, not just a single fall. And investigators started looking closer at everything. First, you have Michael himself. His behavior that night, it just seemed off. He was calm, calculated. Like you said, sure, there was some grief, but mixed with the strange level of control. I want to just throw out this from our time doing murder podcasts, from me and Dakota discussing murder podcasts, watching documentaries on Netflix. I feel like so many times that investigators use the 911 calls as maybe not evidence, but just I think it gets a better idea of people's headspace to the point where like it makes me think out loud, like, what if I'm home and something happens? Like, I feel like I'm in a point now where like I'm gonna overthink any 911 call that I have to make now, because I'm gonna be thinking like, okay, God forbid something happens to someone that I love and I have to make the call. Now I'm gonna be thinking in the back of my head, it's probably just my anxiety. But it's
I was gonna say, this is definitely anxiety, because if you come home and Alexis is at the bottom of the stairs, you're not going to be thinking about that 911 call. You're going to be thinking about getting her
I'm just
help
thinking like,
as soon as possible.
Do I sound too calm? Do I sound too upset? Do I sound calculated?
And you might afterwards, obviously, just having that like rethinking and replaying everything.
Yeah.
But when you're in that moment, I would not think that would be your first.
It might not be the first, but man, I have seen a lot of forensic files and documentaries, and they really hone in on
that 911 call.
911 caller. Like, how was he acting?
That's like a first impression is everything, right?
Yeah.
It's the first time you're hearing about what's going on, and people's reaction is always going to be different, but I feel like there are definitely telltale signs of what happened or what you think happened based off of other incidents, I guess.
So if that, again, God forbid, if that time ever comes where you have to be the caller, make sure you're on point. Mm-hmm. Be prepared. Or maybe don't be prepared, because then you sound calm and calculated.
More prepared.
So, yeah, either way, the call itself, just a lot of questions.
So investigators started peeling back layers of Michael Peterson's life.
Yeah, there was some interesting layers of this onion. Mm-hmm. Again, we talked about they're in this mansion. They have a nice blended family. Outside looking in, political connections. They're
Yep.
the type of family that's hosting fundraisers. I've never hosted a fundraiser before. I don't know if you have. I feel like that's just like
Not in my house.
that's just like a wealthy, like,
Yeah.
oh, we're hosting a fundraiser this weekend. So yeah, I think it's normal for people on the outside to say like, man, the Petersons, he's an author, great marriage. There's a lot of good stuff going on. But yeah, there's an onion, and there was some interesting layers.
First up, they definitely had financial problems, and serious ones. Also, Kathleen's company, Nortel Networks, was crumbling. So together, they were hemorrhaging money. And Kathleen's life insurance policy was worth nearly $1.5 million.
Interesting. Okay, so again, this is maybe my anxiety. Yes, I think it's you watch these shows and these documentaries, and you might start to think like, 911 calls. How do I act? Well, also, I almost feel like having a life insurance policy is a red flag at this point, because I feel like it's brought into motive so many times now. Every story, it's like, oh, well, they did have a life insurance policy. Well, shouldn't every responsible adult?
Everybody should have one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
Do you think
you probably should.
Do you think it's concerning the amount to you? Is that what you're thinking?
I mean, I guess I kind of feel like the fact that she had one shouldn't be a flag at all, but it is naturally. And I don't have one myself. I don't know what a life insurance runs for. I don't know if 1.5 is a lot.
Well, usually at
is
our
that normal.
I don't know that really, but I know at our age it's not like very costly at our age to like put ourselves like to have one.
Sure.
I'd have to look at what ours is, honestly, but you don't want to leave your family with that financial burden.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, and when you're very well off, you're probably paying more into it, which probably makes that a lot higher. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's crazy, if you're like arguing and things are going kind of crazy in your marriage or things are rocky, and all of a sudden, like, they raise the life insurance policy.
I think if you get a life insurance policy a week before you're accidentally fall down the stairs, like, that's a red flag. But I feel like if she's had this policy in place for a while, let's not look too far into it.
Right.
I also think, you mentioned the financial problems. So he's struggling, she's struggling, they're hemorrhaging money. I can't speak for it. I don't live in a fancy mansion, but I think it might be a little bit harder to live that lifestyle and then realize like we might have to do some downsizing. It'd probably be harder to be in that luxurious lifestyle and have to make some changes as opposed to the common man. Maybe we have to move out of this house for a smaller house. Maybe we got to sell one of our 2 cars. Things that we can do to get by day. But when you have that reputation of being a wealthy family, it's probably a little bit harder to correct these financial issues that you're having. So life insurance, whether that's a red flag or not, give or take, but I definitely think that the financial issues could definitely cause some concerns. And also, on top of all these money issues, there's also a matter of Michael's private life. Investigators found some very interesting emails, photographs, and evidence that he had been engaging in some secret relationships. And not just any relationship, but relationships with men.
So to be clear, Michael's sexuality wasn't illegal, but the secrecy was. If Kathleen had discovered it and not already been aware of it, it might have triggered a confrontation that night.
Absolutely. You have some things that my guy's trying to hide, for better or worse. And this kind of, working on our episode for this week, it kind of brought me to an interesting point that I kind of wanted to throw your way. I guess we're going to be debating the rights and wrongs, ethically, so he's hiding sexual secrets from your spouse, which obviously, whether it's with the same sex, opposite sex, I mean, you're still cheating on your spouse.
Right.
That's wrong. Now, if you are someone who thinks, or if you feel like you're gay, like you said, that's not illegal. Hey, do whatever you want. But you should not be
lying and infidelity.
Mm-hmm. Now, my question to you, though, I guess it's a matter of privacy. So, if the wife were to have done some digging, going through emails and texts, I mean, wouldn't that almost, it doesn't paint you in a good light either. I mean, at the same time, if you were to go looking for it and your suspicions turn out to be true, then, I mean, I guess you're kind of doing yourself a service because, you don't want to be unprotected sex with people who are having unprotected sex. I mean, it's a long list. I just feel like the rights and wrongs on this one. I just was curious what you thought here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely difficult. I know that he testified in court that she had known that he was bisexual, which, like I said, not a crime. That's okay. I mean, everybody has a past. That's the way I look at it. I mean, what you did in your past before me is honestly none of my business. But as far as like privacy and relationships, I mean, a marriage, like something, we have multiple children, we have a home together. I mean, yeah, you're able to have like your free space, but not to cheat.
Right.
Like things that you're doing should not be a secret. So yes, you could be interested in men, but if you're being, if you're showing infidelity in our marriage, that's an issue.
Yeah.
It's not an issue that you're attracted to men.
Right.
It's an issue that you've been cheating on me.
Yeah.
As my husband. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like women's intuitions are usually right.
They're usually correct, yes.
And when you think, now, that can also be counteracted when people have like went through a lot of trauma in relationships.
Sure.
You automatically think a lot more, oh, there's more to this, or there's something else going on, even when there isn't, just because you've been blindsided before and you don't want to be blindsided again.
Yeah.
But it's just very difficult because I don't think, I mean, to me, like when I'm in a relationship, you can go through my phone. Like you can go through my emails. I'm not going to be hiding anything. And I feel like unless it's somebody that's like persistently, like constantly, like every time you get home, like let me go through your phone.
Right.
That's obviously going to be a little obsessive. But as far as like, you should know my password. You should be able to go through it to like calm your nerves at any time. Yeah. And I think people who have such an issue with that level, it's because they're hiding something. So he was hiding his relationship with a male escort.
Yeah, I think that's very fair.
A 26-year-old male escort, by the way.
Yeah. So with this discovery of the 26-year-old male escort, all the money issues, it gave investigators a lot of possible motives. We had the questionable 911 call. Whether we're throwing that in the ring as a red flag, that's up to you. We have the life insurance policy, whether that's a red flag or not, that's to be discussed. But nonetheless, what you can't argue is money, secrets, and affair, betrayal. I think all of these things are hot buttons for possible motive.
And then there was the missing blowpoke. The Petersons owned a long, slender fireplace tool called a blowpoke. In photos taken before Kathleen's death, it was clearly visible by the fireplace.
Interesting enough, we have our fireplace in our living room upstairs, and there's some stuff by it. I'm assuming that's a blowpoke. One of them is. And oddly enough, I feel like to take that and maybe hit someone over the head with it, I feel like that would cause a lot of blood splatter. I don't know. That's just me, though. So after her death, that blowpoke, gone. Nowhere to be found. And investigators believe it could have been the murder weapon.
Suddenly, Kathleen's death didn't look like just a fall. It looked like a beating.
On December 20th, 2001, just 11 days after Kathleen's death, Michael Peterson was arrested and charged with her murder.
In the perfect life they'd built together, it shattered with the slam of a jail cell door.
Michael Peterson was arrested for the murder of his wife, the perfect husband, now the prime suspect.
But that was only the beginning, because once the trial started, the cracks in the story got even deeper. The secrets got even darker, and the line between accident and murder blurred beyond recognition.
Next week, we're picking up right where we left off. The courtroom battles, the secret life Michael tried to hide, the mysterious weapon, and a theory so strange, it almost sounds impossible.
Was Kathleen Peterson the victim of cold-blooded murder or a freak accident that nobody saw coming?
Stay tuned because this story is far from over. 50 States, 50 Murders will be back next week with part 2 of the Michael Peterson case.
To be continued.